Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will see how to set up the Terraform with AWS or how to configure Terraform with AWS. Before going to discuss this, if you haven't subscribed my channel, can you please subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon. You will get that new videos and updates if I post it. Okay, so if you want to configure Terraform with AWS, first we need to install AWS CLI. So AWS CLI is the command line interface where from the command line itself, we can create the AWS resources, we can list that AWS resources, and even we can delete the AWS resources. Okay, so that is where if you want to work with that AWS, instead of going to AWS dashboard and we can create manually, from the Linux server, we need to install AWS CLI, and after that, using AWS CLI commands, we can do all the operations which are needed. So here are the commands which we can download the AWS CLI zip file, and we can unzip it, and we can install in the user bin location. It will copy the binary of AWS CLI. Then finally it will update it, and we can see that AWS version. So let's see how to install this. So you can go to, this is the server where I need to install that AWS CLI. Here is the procedure what we discussed just now. So using the first command, it will download the latest zip file. So now see here. So it's downloaded. After that, the second step is we should have to unzip it. Unzip space AWS. See here, it is going to unzip this. Then after this unzip, see there is a AWS unzip is happened. We need to install this AWS CLI in user bin location, and we need to update it. Take the same command and we can enter here. See, it's already some, AWS CLI binary is there actually. So this is this version. I think I have already installed. So what you can do, you can perform the same command. It will be install user bin location with the AWS CLI command with the latest version. So now this already is available. So that is where it's got kept actually. Okay. So after this install, AWS -- version, if you can enter, you can come to know. See here, AWS, it is 2.17.57, which is dependency module Python also. Okay, so there is the Linux kernel version. This is the architecture. This is the Ubuntu OS. Okay, so now AWS version is installed successfully, and even we have verified. So there are 3 steps. The first step is we need to download the zip, and we need to unzip it, and we need to install. Then finally we can verify. Now we have installed this. So after this, what we have to do, we need to configure Terraform with AWS. So there are 2 ways we can configure. The first method we can discuss actually. Okay, so the first method is we need to create that secret key and access key from the AWS console. Then we need to export them as an environment variable. Okay, like if you want to export environment variable, example, if I want to export for my home, export home is equal to /home/Ubuntu. We can get that home directory actually, if you can call that variable. The same way, we need to export for the access key and secret key, which is created from that AWS console. Then after that, once the export is done, we need to make sure whether this access key and secret key are working properly or not. So why this AWS access key and secret key? So from this Linux server, if you want to authenticate whether you are the correct user or you have correct access for provisioning the resources or create the resources, then that time you need this access key ID and secret key ID. After this, you have to verify a couple of commands, EC2 instance, how to check whether the servers are running or not. We will check actually. So before this, what you can do, you have to go to this AWS for creating that access key and secret key to authenticate. So here you have to go to your profile page. Then here, security credentials are there. If you can click on it, so you can able to see here few of the options. So in this option, you have to go to the access keys. So here you need to create new access key. So this you should have to click understand, create that access key for that. Then you have to create the access key. See, these are the access key ID. So you have to make sure this access key ID. And after that, this is the secret access keys. You have to put copy paste. It is not complete. So you have to copy this. So now we have two access keys we have created. One is called access key and another one is called a secret key. So first make sure whether this key is already available or not, whether the variable is available or not. Gecko, you should have to put this dollar, you can paste this, see nothing will be there, we didn't export. And one more thing, you have to make sure whether this access key is already configured or not. You can verify this also actually, where we can use for AWS EC2 and describe instances. Grab, see here, if we can enter pipes I Terraform, enter. So now see, invalid, describe instances, invalid choice. Maybe you mean describe instance. There is some, if any mistakes also, it will give it actually. Now see here, an error occurred, authentication calling operation. AWS was not able to validate the provided access credential. So that is the reason. So access is not there. So make sure you have to take this access key ID and AWS secret key and you have to export it. Now if you want to, you can verify this. You can come to now, see this ID is there. Now it's got exported. So what we have to do, now we should have to make sure whether the connectivity is there. Now see, there is a connectivity is there. And even if you can see that server A, server, if you can put C server A, server B is there. Now you can go to that AWS, you can verify it actually, whether those servers are available or not. See, this is the AWS EC2 console where I have created 3 servers. One is running and another 2 is it is in stopped state. Let's see whether those are properly or not. So go to the region, you should have to select Mumbai. Now see in this Mumbai, we have that server. See here, Terraform core, server A, server B. That's what it's displayed here. So that means whenever we are using that AWS commands, it is properly responding. That means the authentication is working fine. Okay, so this is how we can configure Terraform with AWS. So okay, so after that, going forward, we need to create using Terraform how to create that EC2 instances instead of creating manually. We will see that going forward. But time being, you need to aware of that here. There are 2 things we have done. One is install the AWS CLI, which is that command line interface which you can use to connect from the Linux server to the AWS console. Okay, instead of going to manually and directly, we can take one AWS or Linux server or EC2 instance or anything. There you need to install AWS CLI first. then you can make a connectivity. And second thing is, so if you want to authenticate from your Linux server to AWS, so you need to create two keys. They are access key and you should have to create the secret key. Okay, once these are created, then those keys you need to be export as a environment variable. Okay, then finally you have to execute the AWS CLI commands to validate whether that authentication is working or not. So these are the commands only we did actually. Okay, so this is about first method, how we can configure. So the first method has some drawbacks are there. If we can log out and log in, so now see one more session, I have taken the duplicate session Ubuntu. Okay, so here sudo su, what happened, I am executing the same command the next another session actually. So now see again the authentication is failing. So that means whenever we can export these variables, that variables will be available in only that active session. If we can create the next session or next putty session, if we logged in, that time that the environment variable should be went off. Okay, so that is where instead of going with that first method, if you can use the second method, even you can log out and log in that EC2 server or any Linux server where you can export that environment variables as a access key and secret key. So if you can use AWS configure, that should work actually. That will be permanently, it will store it. Okay, let's see in that next video how to configure Terraform with AWS in the second method by using that AWS configure. Okay, so thank you very much. If you have any doubts, could you please comment in my channel, so I will try to respond it.